thousands of federal workers have received an email saying they could have less than 48 hours to justify their jobs.
Well, federal employees suing Elon Musk over this email. You see it right here behind me, sent to millions. It happened Saturday. Here's what it asks. What did you do last week? The email demands employees list 5 things that they accomplished. The directive, previewed in a post by Elon Musk on X, threatens, quote, failure to respond will be taken as a resignation.
Over the weekend, federal employees represented by labor and advocacy groups have filed a lawsuit against Elon Musk and the Trump administration. These lawsuits were in response to Musk's Doge team requiring them to email comprehensive work accomplishments or face termination. Hopefully, I don't have to explain why this is a bad idea. Kash Patel and Tulsi Gabbard have already dismissed these directives for the employees of their respective agencies, warning them not to comply. Employees of the federal government and unions have sued, claiming that this is an unlawful mass firing attempt, with Elon arguing that it's a basic pulse check.
Now to other top stories we're following. A Washington judge temporarily blocked the Trump administration from placing U.S. Agency for International Development workers on paid leave. The Workers Association says President Trump doesn't have the power to lay off so many government employees.
This wouldn't be the first time that we've seen judicial pushback here. On February 7th, a federal judge issued a temporary restraining order that blocked Musk's department from accessing sensitive data.
Tonight, a major political shift in Germany that could send shockwaves across Europe. CBS's Holly Williams is in Berlin tonight.
Good evening, Jerika. The Alternative for Germany, or AfD, is on track to win about 20% of the vote here. They are far-right, anti-immigration, and want closer ties with Russia. And they have the support of Elon Musk. It's the AfD's best result since the party was established just 12 years ago. During the campaign, the party's leader, Alice Weidel, pledged to carry out the mass deportation of immigrants. Popular with some voters who believe Germany's let in too many too quickly. Recent violent attacks by asylum seekers have fueled their frustration. German intelligence has placed the AfD under surveillance for suspected extremism, and Germany's mainstream parties have vowed not to form a coalition with them.
Musk congratulated co-leader of Germany's far-right, AfD, after the party doubled its support within the national election. Musk called the AfD the best hope for Germany. Both he and Vice President J.D. Vance endorsed the party this election.
National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is opening an investigation into Tesla's autopilot system after a series of crashes. It says it left 1 person dead and 17 people injured.
U.S. highway safety regulators are opening an investigation into complaints that Tesla's seatbelts may not hold people in a crash. The investigation covers an estimated 50,000 Model X SUVs from 2022 and 2023 model years. The agency says it has 2 complaints from Tesla owners that the front belts were not sufficiently connected at the factory. Neither involved a crash.
To actually have the car drive itself in certain circumstances. Well, the NTSB and the NHTSA, which are 2 different regulatory agencies, are finally coming together after years of fighting, even between themselves, as to whether this kind of feature on Teslas should be better regulated. The NHTSA is now saying that it has found 11 crashes since 2018 in which a Tesla on autopilot or some sort of driver assist mode has not spotted emergency vehicles stopped at night with their flashers on, something like a fire truck or an ambulance sticking out into a highway lane, and crashes have resulted, including 1 death. So these 2 transit agencies, which again, they date from a time when seatbelts were even an issue, are now trying to deal with the idea that robots might be driving us around in the future more.
The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, which has an ongoing investigation into Tesla crashes, have laid off 4% of its staff as part of Musk's downsizing efforts, leading many to fear Elon is using his role to shield his companies, such as Tesla, from government oversight and regulation.
The Federal Communications Commission launching an investigation into media outlets, NPR and PBS. Chairman Brendan Carr says the inquiry could help Congress decide whether or not to continue funding local stations. The National News Desk, Jeff Harris joining us.
Agency's concern here, Dee Dee, is that NPR and PBS are broadcasting underwriting announcements that cross the line into prohibited commercial advertisements.
After decades of conservative criticism over alleged biased programming, Trump-appointed FCC Chairman Brendan Carr has contacted taxpayer-funded NPR and PBS over concerns that their broadcasts could be violating federal law by airing commercials.
All broadcasters have obligations they have to comply with, and it's pretty straightforward. We'll just hold every broadcaster accountable to that.
Led by FCC Chairman Brendan Carr, the Trump administration has began investigations into NPR, PBS, and Comcast for their news coverage. These investigations are to leverage these companies into complying and to hold back criticism of Trump. These things are not good for you, and they're not good for me. I control you, and I control elites. Good night.
Close quote. And by the way, there's a deadline, a ticking clock here, midnight tonight. So here's the fallout. 5 agencies encouraging employees not to respond. The Department of Defense, the FBI, and the Department of National Intelligence among them. Those are some heavy hitter organizations there on your screen. So let's go live to CBS News White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi. All right, so